Good afternoon, everyone. And I need one of my colleagues to confirm that you guys can hear me okay.
We can hear
Sounds
you.
good.
We can hear you.
Beautiful. Excellent. Well, welcome, everyone. We appreciate you taking time out of your schedules to join us for what we think will and hope will be an impactful bit of content for you as diocesan and archdiocese organizations working with Sylogist. And again, we appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedules. Today's topic is extending SylogistMission ERP with the Microsoft platform. And that's got a specific focus around what we also do outside of financial management or ERP with CRM. And we're excited to be able to share with you a little bit more about additionally as a SylogistMission customer, specifically as a SylogistMission ERP customer, and again, what we can do with CRM and stewardship activities within your diocese. So again, welcome. So next slide, please. Okay, so today's theme is really about strengthening the stewardship activities across both fundraising and finance. So we'll cover really four major themes or topics: why extending SylogistMission ERP matters for a diocesan organization, how a unified CRM and ERP solution improves efficiency, visibility, and productivity, where the Microsoft ecosystem provides value you may not yet be using, and then real life examples relevant to diocesan finance and development teams, just to give you a feel for some of the capabilities that are available to you through expanding your existing Mission ERP platform. So why extending your ERP matters for diocesan organizations? Well, first and foremost is stronger stewardship. We know that you guys have the utmost responsibility and accountability for all the financial affairs of the diocese, as well as the subordinate operations, parishes, schools, etc. So we want to make sure that you're aware of ways in which you can extend your stewardship responsibilities through the extension of your ERP platform. Easier fundraising. It's our belief, and based on the application and some of what you'll see today, that we can certainly help ease the fundraising burden and the activity associated with managing relationships with your donors, your campaigns, and overall pledge activity. Less manual work. One of the goals of any technology deployment should be to lessen the workload and make you more productive. And as you guys hopefully are well aware, Microsoft has done a lot in that area of increased productivity with things like Copilot being embedded within their financial or within their platforms. And we'd like to kind of share with you a little bit about what that could look like within your environment. And then lastly, built to scale and evolve. We all know that things don't, as much as we might like them to, don't always stay the same. So things change and evolve, and your ability to adapt to those changes, I'm sure you would agree, is extremely important. So that brings us to really, this pictorial gives you a feel for, again, the investment that you're currently in relative to Microsoft. And that top row really talks about the main pillars of really the solution set in the Microsoft technology stack. So Microsoft Dynamics 365, and in our case, Dynamics 365 Business Central is specific to what we do with our financial application in ERP. To the right of that is Microsoft 365, which I'm sure most everyone is aware of. Your collection of productivity tools like Office, Excel, Office, Teams, SharePoint, and some of the other technologies within the Microsoft tech stack. The Microsoft Power Platform, which allows additional applications to be easily created, maintained, and connected to your existing Microsoft business applications. And then the Microsoft App Source, which is a large collection of extensions to the Microsoft business applications for varying needs and requirements that you might have. So SylogistMission ERP hangs out in that next section, right, where finance, supply chain, And again, we're leveraging the Business Central platform from Microsoft within the Dynamics 365 family. And then, certainly the ability to connect and work across those additional Microsoft Stack components of Microsoft 365, and again, Power Platform, and then also giving you the ability to leverage other applications within the AppSource environment. And then again, today we'll give you a sneak peek and a feel for what is available to you as a result of being a SylogistMission ERP customer via the SylogistMission CRM product, which takes advantage of Dynamics for sales, marketing, customer service, as well as field service for those operations that require that level of functionality. So again, all this is a coexisting set of solutions within the Microsoft tech stack. And then underneath all that, certainly, again, as we mentioned earlier, the Copilot componentry that's available across all of that. And then all of this sits on Azure, which is the Microsoft Cloud Platform. So that's one cohesive platform and ecosystem that's available to you to really drive productivity across your financial environment, as well as then your fundraising operation. So with that, let's take a look at how we can extend into Diocesan Stewardship and give you a feel for what that solution set looks like in live action. So with that, I'll turn you over to our friends at Deerbrook, a very key partner of ours that is very focused on the diocesan market. So we're glad to have Deerbrook with us today. And RK Richards and his team are available to step you through this next set of content. So RK, take it away.
Thank you, Chris. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining today. And so specifically, I'll just give you a quick little bullet point of what we're going to be covering. The first thing that we're going to demonstrate for you today is the CRM. So many of you on this call have the SylogistMission ERP product. The corresponding product on the Microsoft platform is Mission CRM. So Jim Williams is going to demonstrate that here in just a moment. And then we are going to follow that up by demonstrating an agent. And finally, we're going to demonstrate two types of agents. We're going to demonstrate an stewardship and development agent that is a chat bot that lives in our Teams environment. And then we're going to demonstrate an AP agent. And so we'll talk through more of that in detail, but we'll get started here with Jim, and then we'll show you some agent stuff. And over to you, Jim.
Thank you, RK. Let me know when you see my Outlook inbox showing up.
Good to go.
Perfect. Yeah, so good afternoon, everybody. I'm here to give you just a quick 20-minute run through of SylogistMission CRM. And I'm actually going to start in Outlook. And I'm going to start with an email that I sent this morning to Burton, who's one of my constituents. So in my sent folder, we see the email that was delivered. And in my inbox, we're going to have a response from Burton. And notice that as soon as I open the email from him, over on the right-hand side of the screen, Copilot, the AI tool from Microsoft, is opening up a window that's a natural bridge between Outlook and the CRM, and additionally, Microsoft Teams. So Copilot is kind of sitting in the middle of all of these applications and giving you insight into your constituent data through Outlook, through Teams, and of course through CRM. And this area to the right here is going to give you just a quick summation of past communications, more contact details, opportunities that you're working on, Teams conversations. So it's really plugging you into the world of your constituents sitting in Outlook. Okay, so I wanted to start there just to kind of paint a picture of where we're going with this. And as I navigate over into Mission CRM itself, I land on my dashboard. And we're going to focus on the top three options here, this top row in my dashboard. And this first one's called our assistant. So this is looking at things that relate specifically to me as the user, and it's notifications of upcoming meetings. It's reminders, and it's letting me know, hey, Burton opened an email. So what if I had come into CRM before I went into Outlook? Now I'm seeing, without even opening my mail tool, that Burton opened it. Now, if I'm curious to see what did he say, I don't have to go back into Outlook to look. I can actually go into his record within CRM, And over on the right-hand side of his screen, there's an area called Interaction Timeline. This Interaction Timeline is kind of a one-stop hub for all the interactions, the communications and activities. And you'll see in this timeline, here's the email I sent him this morning at 8:58. And look how quick he was at 8:58 to respond to me. So again, that tight integration between Outlook and CRM baked into a user experience that makes it very simple for everyone to kind of keep up with what's happening, what's to do next, and that sort of thing. So this is really Outlook and CRM working together to make your life a bit easier. Okay. Now, if I go back to where we started on my dashboard here. So the dashboard is really built around your day. And what should I be doing? What should I be focusing on today? And there are two basic types of data views you'll see here. One is a graphical view. Basically, it's Excel within your CRM. And then you have these list views. Okay. So if I focus on my graphical view, I'm really into pretty colors and charts and graphs. I want to see data displayed this way. But more importantly, I want to see the data behind the pretty colors. So being able to very easily click a button here, take that graph and bring it full screen and bring the data with it. And if I'm curious about my funnel, in particular this fuchsia color piece here, when I click on it, it brings the data back from that piece of my funnel. So it makes it very easy for me to kind of dig into the details, find what I'm looking for, and just quickly navigate through the data. So it's, again, simple clicks. Everything is cross-referenced in really one click away. Okay. If I go back to my dashboard one more time, focusing on the list views of data. So what we're seeing here is, in this view, donors over age 65, that's a view or a query or a report that I built because that's part of my day. That's my lead bucket of people to kind of reach out to and work with for major gift opportunities, for example, or legacy gifts. Down here's a different section that focuses on a younger demographic that I still work with, but I message or target in a different way. So being able to lay a dashboard out and kind of point out those things that I should be working on, but understanding that my needs change and they can change on a dime. So being able to very easily just drop this list down and pick a different view. Maybe I want to see all of my lapsed donors, those that gave last year but haven't given this year. So that's a really quickly refreshed list that's current. And notice it gives me different data points than what I had before. So each of these views I'm looking at are going to give me the right people as well as the right data. Okay. So that's great. I can build lists. I can see them on a dashboard. Well, now what? What can I actually do with that? If I click up here on the ellipses and click See All Records, it takes that list of friends of the parish and brings it full screen. And at this point, it basically acts like Excel in that I can resort the columns, I can filter, clean things up, very much an Excel experience. What else can I do with this besides kind of tinker around and resort it? If I look at the list and I think I'm missing a data point, I have all these columns of data, I need something a little bit different. Over here to the right is the ability to click into and modify that report. And that modification could be, let me drag and drop fields into different order. I could click in here and I could remove a field, or I could click up at the very top here and I could add a new column of data. And there's a lot that I could pick from here. So if I just picked something and click close, it added age to that report. I want to drag it up here, apply it. Now I have a new report with the age field. And if I wanted to save this permanently, I click up here and I'd save it. Or it could be a one-off and I leave it as it is. So again, very simple to go in and kind of tweak the data that you're looking at. But what if I want to tweak it in that I want different people to show up? I have too many or not enough. Over to the top right, there's a button that lets you see the editing tool. And what's nice is this editing tool is not programming language. So you don't need to be a DBA to go in and write this. You're not writing SQL statements. It's a simple understanding of your data elements, what they're called, and how you want to evaluate them. Right? So I'm going to pick a field, add it here, and I can evaluate it. So modifying, very easy from this perspective. What's even easier is leveraging Copilot. So up at the very top here, where it says ask about data in this table, natural language querying, being able to type in a question and have that question applied to your data set. Show me all donors in this list that gave over $500 lifetime. And this list would be cleaned up and would show you those appropriate donors. So if you're not a fan of going in and playing in the editing tool to change the data, the criteria, just type it out. Let AI help you do that sort of thing. Okay. What else can I do with this list? I'm looking at it and I'm seeing there's some sloppy data in here. I'm seeing some missing address information. I'm seeing missing email addresses maybe. I'm seeing misspelling. It's just not right. So I want to be able to go in and make changes to this data. I don't really want to go in record by record and open it, make a change and save it, and then come back and go to the next one. What I'd rather do is work smart. So I'm going to click this ellipses up at the top here, export to Excel online. And this takes the data out of CRM, puts to Excel, and with proper security controls, you have to have rights to do this. I could just simply click into this Excel spreadsheet, make my changes, my additions, clean this list up as I need to, click Save. This change is published back into the CRM. So we all know and love Excel, best software tool ever written perhaps. Let's use it where we can to make our lives easier, speed things up, and make things a little more accurate for ourselves. So built-in integration with Excel for data management, right out of the box. Okay. Now, if I go back to my dashboard, just to kind of reset for a second, I want to talk to you a little bit about the record types in Mission CRM. And there are basically two overall record types. We have account records and we have contact records. Now, if I go to this little push pin over on the left here, these are my pinned records. Think bookmarks in your browser. So these are my favorite people I work with, churches I work with, outside companies I work with, events, that sort of thing. So if I click on Old St. Andrews, now I'm looking at an account record. And it tells me right here it's an account, so I know. But I'm going to see data on display that speaks to that kind of record. So the name, the contact person at the church, a little more detailed information about it. What kind of account is it we're dealing with? Website. Are there other folks at the church I work with periodically, I maintain contact with? We can display those here. The timeline we saw a second ago on Burns record, and I'll revisit it again in a second, but also exists on your account records. If I go to related and I click on connections, here I'm going to see really quickly a list of all the members of the church that's in our database. So we create that relationship between church and church member, and it's reciprocal. If I were to click on Burden's name from here, without even doing a search, without even going to my favorites list to look him up, I can just click his name and go to his record. So again, super simple navigation. It's all one click away, right? Now, when I land on a contact record, I'm going to see, traditional contact details, contact information. Please note that all of these fields, these layouts, these are configurable. So if there's a data element that you want to display that's not here, you can put it here. You can add it. You can rename these fields. You can rename these tabs. So again, it's very much a personalized experience for your organization. To the right of that, a section built out for sacraments. So if there are multiple different dates that you capture here, add whatever you need to. Completely configurable. Below that, the timeline we saw a second ago of all those communications. Well, those communications aren't just emails. I could do a one-off email from here and have that mailed to him and saved in his list. I can generate phone call logs. I can create tasks, appointments. I can type in notes. I can attach documents. Those are all considered activities that are captured in this timeline, and then listed chronologically for us. So again, it's just one easy place to go to see all the communications on record for a particular person. Okay. Now, seeing data is one thing, and data list and these little grids, and that's all well and good. You know, you need that. I think what you need more today, though, is more interaction with the data, and you need sort of that third person looking over your shoulder, helping you evaluate it. And that third person in this case is going to be AI. So at the very top in my menu here, we have what we call Donor Insights. And when I open Donor Insights up, there we go, we're going to see on the right a new window opens up, and it's evaluating burden lane. So it's going to give us some information like lifetime giving, a breakdown of giving for the past 3 years in this case, current year giving, you know, fairly basic stuff. But then we get into affinity. I want to know what sorts of campaigns or appeals really resonate. What funds perhaps does he give the most to? So being able to visually see how much he's giving, how many gifts he's giving, to which campaign in this case is going to be useful for me. But scrolling a little bit further down, now we get into the juicy stuff. I want AI to evaluate this record in its entirety and give me suggestions around giving trends. What's happening? Why do we think that's happening? Predictions. What do we think that means going forward for the rest of the year? How much do we think he can give? Why do we feel like he has a particular affinity for one thing over another, in this case, a campaign? And then lastly, engagement recommendations. Based upon what AI is seeing here, we're not responding quickly enough with our thank yous. We didn't send a thank you. We want to invite them to an event. We need to send more personal communications. Whatever those things are, it feels could be beneficial to enhance the relationship. It's going to recommend down here. Okay, so a fantastic way of leveraging modern technology to quickly get that insight that you need. And when you're done with it, you just click the button here and it kind of hides it. So it's there when you need it. It's not there if you don't, so that you can get about your day. A couple more things before I turn it over to RK. If I look at this tab called Donation Information, here we're going to see a listing of all of the different gifts that exist on Burden's record. And in the world of Mission CRM, there are basically 3 layers to the giving. So if you'll think of a pyramid for a second, and at the base of the pyramid, the biggest chunk of information in that pyramid, you'll have your transactions. And those are your checks that come in. That's the $20 bill that walks in the front door, right? It's online gifts. It's imported gifts. So basically, it's just all of the individual gifts that come in and received go in as transactions. In the middle portion of that pyramid, slightly smaller in scope, you'll have what we call commitments. Here, I want you to think pledges, planned gifts, something that's going to happen, but over a period of time. So we want to track, that entity a little bit differently than just a pure cash gift. So sometimes that transaction is just a cash gift, but sometimes it's a pledge payment recorded a transaction that's tied to a commitment. At the very tip of that pyramid, you have what we'll call the opportunities. So think major gift proposals, naming opportunities, grants, that sort of thing. So that's an overall opportunity to really ask for a larger gift. And sometimes that opportunity is going to have a commitment tied to it. They're linked together. And those payments that come in are then linked to the opportunity. So everything is daisy chained together nice and cleanly. Okay. So entering gifts can be, again, they can be imports, they can be online gifts. I can click up here and do a one-off addition of a transaction. We also have a batch entry tool that we can leverage to input gifts quickly. But to put a bow on this, to get it over to RK and start the next topic, the bridge between Mission CRM and your ERP is going to be built around your designations or your funds. So what we're looking at is a list of all the, we call them designations or funds that exist here, but they've been built based upon what's found in the GL. So we're mapping over the information from your general ledger, creating corresponding funds here. And as I open the financial wellness fund, we're going to see, most importantly, right here, that mapping of GL codes, debit and credits based upon gift types into Mission CRM. So that when a gift is input or it's logged and it's posting to a particular fund that's already designated correctly. So end of day, every 2 days, once a week, whatever your process is, you'll do a posting from Mission CRM that posts to your ERP. And this is what tells the money where to go on the GL side to create the journal, post it, and get the journal entries. So that's kind of an 80,000 foot view of Mission CRM. Hope that was helpful, and I'm going to turn it over to RK.
Thank you, Jim. All right, I just want to share a diagram, and then we're going to talk about an agent. So many of you I worked with when I was at Sylogist, and I spent years working on the Mission platform from the inside. I had an opportunity to come to Deerbrook Consulting and lead their Microsoft practice. And we are a proud Sylogist partner, and look forward to working with Sylogist, well into the future. And I'm excited to get to bring all of that knowledge that I gained from working with you guys and working with Chris and Jim and the team directly to clients. The one thing that we have at Deerbrook that I think makes this a very great partnership is we have broad technical depth across Mission ERP, Mission CRM, and we specialize in using the full Microsoft ecosystem to drive efficiency, automate workflows, and then bring AI solutions into the picture. So we have product expertise and platform capability working together. And I think this demonstration will help you guys see that in a very basic way. And so we're going to show you just a basic agent. We created what's called the Stewardship and Development agent. And that agent is going to live in our teams, enterprise teams. And you'll see that many of the things Jim was just talking about is some of the questions that we are going to ask as well. But I want you guys to see how the platform is very, very broad, and your users do not just have to interact with the product. They can interact with the platform and still get the same answers to the same questions. And then with AI, you're going to see how much quicker and how much easier you can get the answer to these questions. When I was on y'all's side, I was going into Razor's Edge and I was querying reports out of Razor's Edge, and that was time-consuming stuff to do for the auditors. It was time-consuming to do for our CFO. And so this is a better way to do it. And this diagram here is very rudimentary, but it's good in that it shows you what the solution is. We can connect to your CRM data. We can connect to your ERP data. We have that agent reading all of that data. We can connect that agent to Outlook. We can connect that agent to Teams, and then we can direct it and orchestrate it to do actions across all of these products at the same exact time. And so with that said, I'm going to invite my colleague GK to share his screen. GK is a software engineer and is working with me at Deerbrook, and he's very, very well versed in how to use these AI tools. And we're going to show you a little something we put together.
Yeah.
All right, GK, you there?
Yep.
So if you could just go to the top and show them what this agent looks like, GK. So we created, it's called the Diocesan Stewardship agent. And at the very, very top of this, we'll prompt it again here. It tells you what the agent will do, GK. It's like, I'm the stewardship agent. Go straight to the top. There you go. So this very top pane. What can I do? What can I help you with? Well, we can identify lapsed parishioners and giving. We can check parish giving health and assessment status. We can draft and send personalized re-engagement emails. We can review outstanding pledges and follow-ups. And then we can look up, obviously, parishioner profiles. So we've connected this to our data, and we're going to prompt it, and you're going to see how good these responses are. So GK, I think we'll just start with the first prompt here, and we're going to work through about 12 prompts because I want you guys to see the breadth of this. And the first one is, how much did we collect in donations for 2025? And he's chatting with us in Teams. He's not going into the CRM solution. He's not going into the ERP solution. And you can see that he's just asked that question. Total donations collected across all parishes are $2.4 million. And the next prompt is compare the annual appeal between 2023, 24, and 25 among all parishes. Normally, I would go into the ERP or I would go into the Razor's Edge or CRM, and I would run 3 reports to do this. Not the case now. And if you have any questions, feel free to pop them into the chat, and we are monitoring that as well. So you can see very, very quickly. I just, this is a report you could send to the CFO and tell them where they stand, how it's comparing year to year. Next prompt, compare the annual appeal, the capital campaign, and the mission fund pledges. And so now we're wanting to see, well, how is our annual appeal doing versus the capital campaign that may be going on simultaneously versus any other sort of giving campaign that we might have going on, which is obviously, dictated by your data. And let's just show them summaries for FY25, GK. And so it didn't quite like our prompt there. And so we're just giving it a more specific prompt to get it to the data that we want. Really, the most important thing that you can do when prompting these is know the field names, know the table names, which many of you already do because you use the ERP every single day, and then making sure your dates are good. And so there we go. We've got these parishes and then their year-to-date giving across the various types of pledge types, whether they're annual appeals or school support fund, or I see the mission fund in there as well. So now our next prompt is rank the parishes from least to greatest participation in the annual appeal. So who's contributing to the annual appeal and who's slacking, basically, is what we're prompting it for right now, because maybe we want to send the bishop or father a message and say, Bishop, these are the slow moving parishes, as you requested. Please give us strategies to boost participation for the low performing parishes. There, it just walked us through, cultivate stewardship, engage the parish leaders, host special events, leverage commitment weekends, make giving easy and accessible, communicate impact and gratitude, social media, year-round engagement. Who are the top 10 donors that have only given to one fundraising initiative? So people that we maybe are wanting to target for, the other 2 initiatives that have only given to one. They would be prospects, I guess you could say, targets for our other ones. And so these are the donors that have given the most to one, but not to the others. Prepare an email to ask one of these to donate, Stanislaw, maybe the second one. Prepare an email to ask him to donate to other causes. We got some kind of error message there, GK. We'll try it again.
Yes. We can go with next one. I think. Yep. We can go with the next one.
The next one is give me the top 3 donors that are lapsed. And by top 3, I think we're saying the highest pledge donors that have lapsed, meaning they haven't sent in their pledge payment in the last few months.
I think with the data we don't have any lapsed one, like everyone are paid.
Try it this way, GK. Say, give me the list of the top 5 St. Mary's, number 11, St. Mary's parishioners who have outstanding
Mhm.
pledge balances. And so now we're asking it about a specific parish's donors who have outstanding.
Yeah, I think even in this data, we don't have anything.
Okay. And then if you could, GK, show them the email draft piece of it.
Oh, yeah.
So not only can these agents, while GK gets that ready, not only can they give us responses, we can, converse with it in this way and then say, now send an email to A, B, and C. And if there's 10 donors in our list, it will create an email to this donor. And the one he's sharing with you, thank you for your commitment to St. Mary's Parish, your pledge of the school support fund. So it has the context of what this donor gave to, and it's using that context in the email that has been sent. And it's asking them to complete a payment of some sort. But the important piece here is that we can send one prompt and say, email these 5 donors or email these 10 donors that are lapsed, whatever the case may be. Whereas previously, we probably would have, ran a report. Somebody would have typed out one email to each of those folks. And we can really automate that with these agents. Now, GK was explaining to me before this call how there's sort of a sliding scale around automation and whether you want a human to be in the loop or not. And so GK, if you could just say a few words about your perspective on that.
Yeah, as we have the complete coverage on the platform, like from CRM to the ERP, we can have that slider in a way whether to have everything automated on its own, like as an autonomous agent, which can go into CRM and ERP, find the data, identify the people, send an email, and follow up with the people on its own, or we can have human in the loop, having a human as a reviewer at every final step, and we can see like what AI is doing, and we would be just steering the AI instead of giving the complete control. So we can, if we feel like we have a complete confidence on the data and also the agent, then we can say like go ahead and do the everything. Or if you feel like we need to have the control at the end of the every task, we can maintain that and we can slide that control towards us, and we can maintain that.
So it's flexible in terms of if we are working on a process that is incredibly predictable, like it's the same thing. I think about year-end tax statements. All we're doing is pulling a number, we're pulling an email address, we're pulling a donor, and we're sending them a message to say, here's your year-end tax. That's a very predictable set of information, and we know what the answer is. There may need to be less of the human in the loop in that versus if you're like maybe sending an invitation to something and you want to have some more, you want to add some color to the email, or you want to add a personal touch to it in some way. So we can slide that scale, meaning stop having the agent ask you questions and allow the stewardship person or the finance person to do some refinement to it. Or if it's incredibly predictable, just letting it go do it. So I think it's important to understand that, and it's not all automation, or it's not all or nothing. It's how much automation do you want, and how much can the process handle, I think is the way to put it. All right, the next thing that we are going to show, is there anything else, GK, before I move on to the AP agent?
Okay, good.
Okay, so I'm going to move on to the AP agent now, and I'm going to share my screen.
While you do that, RK, if I may just ask our audience, don't forget if you have questions, just pop them into the questions section, and we'll get those questions answered for you. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ruby. All right, so I'm sharing BC now, and I want to show you a couple things. First and foremost, when you set up the AP agent in BC, SylogistMission ERP, you're going to associate it with an inbox. So we have set up an inbox called Deerbrook Dynamics, and just assume that our vendors are sending our invoices to that inbox as we ask them to. So I'm going to say, here's my Microsoft invoice. and I'm going to send it into the agent. Up here in the top right-hand corner of your screen, you'll see that we have 3 agents installed. It's possible that you guys have not installed any agents. It's possible you haven't thought about these. The agent that GK was just showing you is what I would call more of a bespoke agent. You guys came to us, maybe you had a specific use case, and we created an agent based upon that specific use case. Alternatively, we could also use an agent that's created by the Microsoft Business Central product team. This is a Microsoft Business Central agent. We didn't create it, Microsoft created it, and it's built right into the product. And so there's a payables agent, there's a sales order agent, and Microsoft has also created the ability to create your own agent within the Business Central platform. So if you wanted to create an agent associated with fixed assets, or if you wanted to create one associated with some other Business Central related process, you could. You know, we very well could, and you don't even have to be a technical person to do it. The Business Central agents are what they call low-code solutions. So I have just sent an email into the inbox, and that this payables agent is monitoring that inbox, just continuously monitors it. And you can see that I've got a few that have been sent in here. I sent in prior, this morning prior to this call, and then I had this very bottom one down here, number 24 is the one that I just sent in. So in theory, you would have all these invoices that are coming into your inbox, and as the AP person, you know that you need to go in here and take a look at things when there's a 6 or a number there. There's something red there that means I've got an action. That's the human in the loop aspect of this. So the agent can do everything, but it's also going to ask for your review as needed. What are the things that we'll ask for? If we sent an invoice in that didn't have a vendor, it would create a vendor for us, and it would ask if we wanted to create a vendor, and it would ask us to check the vendor. If there's already a vendor in there, it's just going to ask us things about how it's coded. So in the interest of time, I'm not going to go through vendor creation right now, but I am going to show you how these things are coded. So here's an invoice that I sent in there earlier. It's going to ask me to review it. I'm going to say yes. This is when GK actually sent it. It says, please review the attachment. We look at the attached PDF, and this is for Fabricam Industrial Supplies, and it's got 5 line items here for $3,600. And it's asking if we want to give instructions to the agent. There's all kinds of instructions that we could give, but I'm just going to click continue because I want to keep pushing forward on this. And so you can see now that this task is in progress. Okay, that's all good. And while that one's in progress, I'm going to go ahead and process the next one. Let's review this next agent. This one was sent from me. We'll view the PDF on this one. This is an invoice from Microsoft. I'll click continue. I'll let it keep going. And as it asks for various assistance, you can see this very top one right here, number 17 says provide assistance. That means that I've already kicked it off and it's asking me a question about the invoice. Compare that to number 22, which is just an incoming document that I've yet to review yet. So that one says review the incoming document. This one says provide assistance. So let's provide assistance on this one. All right, so this one says finalize the draft invoice. So I'm going to review that. And now we can see that the payables agent has done various things. A few things to point out here. One, this invoice is for Genesee Valley Therapy Partners. So it'd be probably like the Catholic Charities type of vendor. And they've provided occupational therapy, physical therapy, behavioral support, blah, blah, blah. You'll notice that the agent is giving me fields for review. It's telling me there are 6 fields that thinks it needs my review, and those are indicated by these red information boxes. So what it's saying there is we're not sure if this is the right account, but you can see by comparing the invoice to the document, it's brought every line item over, it's brought every quantity over, it's used the right vendor already, and if I were to go ahead and code this and submit it in there, then next time this invoice came in, it would know what all these accounts are. It's going to learn over time, and it's going to get better over time as you work with it to where, it's probably just going to automatically know which accounts to use after a period of a few invoices. I'll say that this looks good to me, so I don't want to make any changes to how that account structure is coded. So I'm going to click continue. And now that is needing to be sent through a workflow. So I'm going to do that. Oops, where am I? So we'll click finalize draft here. Oops, that's the wrong one. There we go.
I think arcade should be done. You should check in the purchase invoices.
Well, what about the workflow? I wanted to show them that.
You need to initiate from the purchase invoice.
There we go. So there's the Fabricam invoice. There's our line items there. And we are going to request approval, and we're going to send the approval request. Now, this is another way in which we can extend the Sylogist platform. So GK, I want you to share your screen again, because you guys are used to maybe the workflows inside of BC, but those workflows can go outside of BC. They can go to Teams, they can go to Outlook. So GK, I want you to share whatever approval you're receiving now.
Yeah, I'm sharing.
All right. So, and if you could, GK, be just while I'm talking through this, get ready to share Outlook as well. The same exact approval goes to both Outlook and Teams. So GK is receiving this Teams message. He's also receiving an Outlook message. It says, please approve this invoice. It's the same exact each way. He can click approve in either place. If he prefers to work out of Outlook, he can. If he prefers to work out of Teams, he can. He's going to click approve. And so for all of y'all's users that are not going into SylogistMission ERP or SylogistMission CRM, we can very easily route these workflows to them in one of their other Microsoft tools. And now that GK has approved it, I, as the submitter, I'm going to steal the screen share back, GK. I, as the submitter, am now going to get a message as well. So I just got a message saying this invoice has been approved by GK, and it tells me, gives me any comments that there might be, and then ultimately it does the same exact thing in Teams as well. So if I go into Teams here, there's also a notification that's hitting me there as well. All of these approval flows are going to be saved for an audit trail. They'll be saved on the document inside of BC. I will be able to see all of this and reference it if necessary. And then now I can obviously release this and post it just as if you were posting any other invoice. So that's the AP agent. And there are a million, you know, GK and I were talking yesterday about what are the use cases that I could talk to you guys about. And there's 5 that I came up with. And I think that you guys have a bunch of use cases that you probably have ideas about. And now we have the tooling to do it with very, very little customization required. So I'm just going to run through a few more use cases that we could create agents for. A document repository for insurance. We could have a structured AI-assisted repository that organizes certificates of insurance, property schedules, incident reports, and claim history that allows you to do a smart search, and automatic expiration alerts for policy renewals. FP&A automation. I don't know how many of you have played around with Claude in Excel or ChatGPT in Excel or Copilot in Excel. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And I'm of the belief now that you can create the best FP&A model that you can imagine using these tools. And then we can pull in Business Central data. We can pull in CRM data and incorporate that into our model. We don't need to subscribe or purchase some sort of third-party FP&A model anymore. In my opinion, I think we can use good old-fashioned Excel plus some AI add-ins to do that. Now, the AI add-ins require a subscription. They're roughly $20 a month for those subscriptions. So FP&A, I think, is a huge untapped use case for AI connecting to this data. New HR, new employee onboarding, automating the administrative side of onboarding, I-9 verification, background checking, handbook acknowledgement, payroll and benefits, eligibility workflows. So everything that your HR staff is doing to make sure people are ready for their first day, did they get their computer? Have they signed their documents? Have they uploaded their bank account information? Those workflows can be automated. Now, we're not actually going to enter the data for you, but we're going to say, you know, GK is starting tomorrow, make sure A, B, C are done, and then have a workflow that operates in the background to help you initiate all of those tasks and send those emails. Communication and bulletin automation. An agent that drafts the weekly parish bulletin, social media posts, and emails newsletters from a shared content calendar, ensuring a consistent voice, and then freeing up the administrative staff to not have to worry about that. And then finally, parishioner engagement and stewardship. Assisted outreach that identifies disengaged parishioner, triggers emails, follow-ups, and generates year-end giving statements. And then if we moved on to the month-end close, the one that we have demoed previously is just a balance sheet reconciliation. If you wanted us to help do an automated balance sheet reconciliation, there are ways that we can do it. If we can use your dimensions to create some data that would help our AI tool recognize what needs to be reconciled. So, you know, I can't tell you guys how fast this stuff is coming at us, and it's literally a full-time job to sort of stay up with it. But it's important for you to realize that you're using SylogistMission's ERP, maybe you're using SylogistMission CRM, and Microsoft has built a platform that allows us to very, very easily connect agents to do these sorts of things. And then there are levels of agents. There are the in-product agents, which require almost no technical skill. There's you know, sort of a middle ground agent that uses some data and some existing Power Automate tooling to create an agent, and that probably requires a little bit more technical knowledge, but still not any sort of coding. And then you've got the full-on bespoke agent. Maybe we want to go pull down something from ADP and then create a journal entry and then, you know, import it into BC. Much more of a custom agent where we would get somebody like GK involved who knows how to use these tools to develop the complete solution set. That would be sort of a bespoke agent. And so those are just some of our ideas. And I know that you guys are likely being asked about these things from various people. So if you want to discuss any of it, I think between Sylogist and Deerbrook, we've got some ideas, and we'd be happy to take a look with you. So let me go back to our slide here and finish out this presentation. All right. So are there any other questions before we move on to our last slide?
No questions as of yet.
Excellent. Thank you, RK. Appreciate it. Well, back to the audience, we appreciate you guys for joining us. Hopefully this was helpful. A lot of material I'm sure that you'd love to better understand and better digest. We're happy to, between myself and RK, as well as Jim here at Sylogist, happy to engage further to answer any questions you have. Would be happy to sit down and kind of step you through any additional detail that would be of help. So again, thank you for your time today. We will be sending out communication to follow, particularly for everyone that registered. We'll get a link to the recording of today's session for you to refer back to at a later point. And again, we thank you for your time today. Have a good rest of your day. Thank you.